everyone, I'm Allison. Thank you for joining me for I'm from 245 with Michelle. Happy Monday. What have you been reading? I read a book on my Kindle, but it has expired. The Ghosts of 4th Street by Lori Hartzell, and about siblings. And hi, Michelle. And this is
Hi.
my
How are you?
great memoir about sibling loss. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for inviting me to join.
I am so excited you're here. I love both of the anthologies that you edited, and I just love the work that you do. So it's a privilege to have you here.
Well, thank you so much. Thank
Yeah,
you. And
yeah,
this is good timing because the paperback is coming out next month. So right in time for Father's Day. So
yeah. I'm in an anthology, No Contact, about going no contact, and
yes.
I think the timing of that was before Mother's Day a little bit. So it's interesting how these anthologies are timed to give some comfort, hopefully, to those who maybe don't have the relationship that they imagine they should have with the people in their lives. So,
Absolutely. And I just bought a copy of that anthology. I can't wait to read your
oh, you
piece
did?
in it. Yeah.
I just realized my AirPods aren't working and I can hear you on my phone.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I was like, wait, these are we're looks. Much closer. So, oh shoot, it's
I can
working.
hear you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because you know how sometimes you take them off and they start working
Yes. Yeah.
and you're, so I'm putting them away. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, Oh, well, thank you. I'm so pleased to be a part of the anthology because it's a book that I wish had existed for me when I had gone no contact in the 90s, and it was like we didn't have any of those words or any of that. I was just a weirdo um
Yes.
who couldn't forgive and forget. So,
No, it's a really important book. I know, and so many amazing writers are in it,
oh
including
my God,
yourself. And
so
I'm
many.
just I can't wait to read it. So
Yeah, Jenny did an amazing job, and I just think being an editor of an anthology, it's like it's like parenting to
it
me.
is. There's a lot of like go asking people to get their work in,
Mhm.
a lot of
And
babysitting required.
and be so vulnerable with you, and then you have to care for that vulnerability and push them maybe, and I mean it's a delicate thing. So I
Very delicate, but also incredibly rewarding to work
yes,
with writers and
yes,
see what can emerge when they put their work through a bunch of revisions and
yeah,
you see what the final product is. It's amazing.
yeah. And your first anthology was born from your essay, correct, that you
It
wrote?
was,
Yeah.
yes, from an essay that I wrote that was published by Sari Botten at Long Reads. And it went viral like right around when the Me Too movement took off. And that led to the book deal. So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, it's a gorgeous essay. And I think actually I was at a talk where Sari was talking about the essay and the title of it. Is that you? Is that the correct story? Okay.
Yes. So basically, like my original title for this essay, and for those who don't know what my essay it's about the my stepfather was abusive, and it's about the gap that caused in my relationship, the fracture that caused in my relationship with my mother. I had this poetic title of lacuna for it and thought, this is the perfect word to describe how I feel. And Sari was like, no one is ever going to click on this. We need to think of what will make people click on something online. So
Yeah.
I came up with a bunch of titles, including What My Mother and I Don't Talk About. And that was the one. And it's
Yeah.
and that really led to the book deal because people resonated not just with my essay, but with that title. And I quickly realized this is a great writing prompt for
Yes.
people.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so I love the collections because it takes so many different forms, right?
Yes.
Because I just randomly am thinking of Kelly McMaster's essay and the newer, and like it's a lovely story about her father.
It's
It's not.
beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. They had a wonderful relationship.
Mhm.
So, or I still do. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's not all difficult
right,
relationships, right?
right, right. It was like, oh, this is sweet, and especially having read Kelly's memoir, you can feel the echoes of that in her piece. And just kind of, I enjoy reading more of somebody's work because you obviously get to see, I don't know, it's like you get to know somebody. That seems too simplistic, but there is something like, and I felt that reading that essay, like, oh,
Yes. Yes, it's another glimpse into Kelly's
yeah,
life. Kelly's book, her last book, The Leaving Season, is one of my favorite books of all time. It's
me too.
just a masterpiece.
Yeah, it is wonderful. I use it as a comp because I aspire to have my book be like Kelly's book. It's like,
That's wonderful.
yeah, like, oh, this one. So anyway, Michelle, would you like to read your poem?
Yes.
You are happy with it? You have
Yes, yes, I've been tinkering with it as last minute as I always do. I feel
yeah.
like I'll never forget hearing, I think it was Billy Collins give a reading when I was an undergraduate, and like following along as he read and poetry from his book, and realizing that he was changing some of the words that were published in the book as he was reading. And that was a moment that really resonated with me as a young writer, where I'm like, the work is never really done, even when it's in
Yeah.
published in a book.
Especially, I think, when you read it out loud, right? And for
Exactly.
people, because I mean, I always read
Yes.
everything out loud before
Yeah.
I turn it in. But then it's different when you have an audience. Like there are all these different layers of the thing. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. So here is my current version of the poem where I'm from. Um, I'm from used books purchased at the annual library sale, from Lipton iced tea mix and Giggle Noodle soup. I'm from a damp finished basement, musty, subaqueous, the TV glowing like an aquarium. I'm from the marshy path to the lake guarded by cattails, their rustle as soothing as squishing the spongy earth beneath my sneakers. I'm from piano lessons and sensitive stomachs, from starting the school project the morning it's due. I'm from avoiding the fact that things change and haunting the halls of youth. I'm from don't let the bed bugs bite and stop reading while walking. I'm from attending the weddings and funerals of strangers from the balcony of St. Mary's, watching my grandmother's hands as she played the organ, more moved by the power she had than anything the priest said. I'm from the state everyone drives through to get to the rest of New England, from Irish soda bread and grilled cheese sandwiches with tomatoes and bacon, from the wind named after my great uncle John, who died at sea, and my grandmother's estranged sister living the next town over. I'm from old photos tucked away in the attic. I don't need to look at them to feel the softness of the earth, to see glimmers of the lake through the cattails, to hear the peepers calling to me. And I just wanted to thank you for starting this project to begin with, because it was really fun to write poetry again. I haven't written a poem since college, but that was what I was really, that was like my first love. That's what I wrote a lot of in high school. And then in college, I took some poetry classes with Charles Simic and McKeel McBride. And so it really felt like a return to an older version of a younger version of
Yeah.
myself. So
I love that. I think so many of us got to writing through poetry. I was similar. I was very
yeah,
depressed in high school and loved Sylvia Plath, and she felt like she was
yes,
talking to me directly. And
absolutely.
yeah, I was like, oh, thanks for existing. And yeah, I think I love hearing that because I had a poetry professor who was not very nice, and I just let it go because I was like,
Oh
oh,
no.
okay, I'm not a poet. She's right, and moved elsewhere with my writing. And so for me, it's been a return too of like, oh, it's for everyone.
That's
And
so I'm really glad you've returned to it too.
yeah,
It's really it's I'm now want to write more poems.
no, that's wonderful. Georgella would love that too because she is
Yes.
very like that as well. It's gotten me in touch concretely with my I'm just not that interested in gatekeeping part of myself.
Hmm.
And she's like that. And she,
Yeah.
she gave me a lot of validation with that. Like, oh, if she feels that way, I can feel that way too. Um,
I love that. I'm all about, especially now I'm 42, and in my 40s, I'm like all about just kind of letting go of things that have held me back my whole life,
yeah.
including my inner critic, which is a constant
It's hard.
struggle, but something I'm getting better at. So
I think it's really hard because
it is.
I installed so much of that because I thought it was protecting me from, I don't really know because it wasn't, but that it was keeping me
Yeah.
safe. And it wasn't,
Yeah,
it was just keeping me small. So,
absolutely. Same here. Same here.
so I love that you're a
Yeah.
teacher and you have this attitude because
Oh,
those
yes.
teachers changed my life. Like, those were the teachers who kept me going, who were just
Same
like,
here.
yeah,
Same. I mentioned Michele McBride. She was one of my favorite professors. She's a poet, and she taught at the University of New Hampshire for many years. And she had a really incredible class called The Gift that was based on the book by, I think the author was Lewis Hyde. Have you ever heard of that book?
mm-mm, I don't
Um,
think so.
the premise of the class was that it was for artists, and we would make gifts to give to each other because it was like art is a gift, right? So we
Wow.
would go, and we would go sit outside on campus and write in our journals, and it was just, to some people might think that that sounds like an easy kind of magic school bus type class, but for me it was everything. It was so inspiring, and McKeel really like was such an incredible free spirit who I just deeply admired. And so I'm trying to capture her energy when I teach, where I'm giving people permission to try new things, to experiment with their voice, to not hold themselves back because of anything that they've internalized or learned so far in their life.
Well, and it sounds like too that she was trying to foster community amongst artists, which
Yes.
I think is so essential. And I have an MFA in uh, I think it's cinematic arts now, and I
Mhm.
I feel like that was not part of the program. We were all seen as competition, and somebody we needed to get past or over or through. And in fact, the relationships that I have are my friends and collaborators, like those are the ones that sustain you. And
Yeah.
nobody really ever said that.
Yeah, I know. I've always been really a believer in in what it means to be a literary citizen, and
Yeah,
thinking about that, and
yeah,
community, like you said. Like I think that, I want to hold doors open for people rather than slamming them shut. And I want people to hold doors open for others as well. And I think, and I also believe in creating the community that you're craving too, which is
yeah.
why in my career so far, I've done things like I started a reading series when I felt like there was something missing from the New York City literary community that was that ran for a lot of years at Book Court, which no longer exists, and then Powerhouse Books, and then Books Are Magic in Brooklyn. And it was all about women writers, emerging and established. And I would come up with a topic that we'd have panel discussions around. And it was called Red Ink. It came from a quote from Mrs. Dalloway about correcting, or I can't remember if it was Mrs. Dalloway, but it was a Virginia Woolf quote
It's
about
okay.
her.
I don't know, so I'm not going to
Yeah.
correct you.
Virginia Woolf's one of my favorite writers, and my
Yeah.
friend Lauren Saran gave me this brilliant idea of the name of the series because it was from a Virginia Woolf quote about correcting things in red ink. And I was like, this is a great name for the series I want to do. So anyway, I, long story short, I believe in building the community that you're looking
Hmm.
for.
Hmm. I mean, I do too, and I think that's why I started this series, but I didn't know it. I just was like, oh, this seems cool. I love hearing people's poems and stories, and this gives me an excuse to ask people in a way that
Yes.
doesn't feel invasive or weird. It's like an invitation. And I mean, it seems like you're similar. I love to give an invitation. It's
Yes.
so fun because
Yes.
everyone's waiting for one.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
that's why we all check all our things a million times a day because we're hoping some magic invitation will be in there. and usually it's not. So I like I like to be the
Yes.
person who's issuing an invitation. It's lovely.
I love that you're doing this, and the prompts like this one that you do, like they really can just open the floodgates up if you're feeling
Yeah.
stuck as a writer. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, you do have something to say, actually, you know?
Yes, absolutely. And I just want to, Kim, my friend Kim, just put in the comments, Allison, this reminds me of handmade gifts our kids are encouraged to make for one another at their school. Um, what you were talking about. And it was like, not about going and
Yes.
buying something or performing some kind of, I don't know, wealth or class, but just giving from your heart and
Yes.
creating. And I think it's hard sometimes, and I would imagine you struggle with this because everyone I know does, but it's hard sometimes to think that what we have to say matters because there's just so much noise, just that's so blah. And
Yeah.
for lack of a better word, and I never doubt that whoever is coming to join me, that their story is worth telling. And it helps me remember that mine is worth telling too. Um,
Absolutely.
so
Yes.
it's a total privilege. So I am so glad. Like it's just this is such a joy. It's such a special joy to read someone's work and then invite them, have them join me, and then connect with that. It's like it's a real dream come true kind of thing. I don't know if you felt that way with your reader series. It's like, oh, this is really special.
I always felt that way.
Yeah,
Yes, yes. And I miss it. I
I
stopped doing
bet.
the series
Bet.
because I'd been running it for a long time, but I still miss it because it was really a very special part of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what sort of, I mean, this is cool because it's virtual since I started during the pandemic and it makes it very sustainable for me,
Definitely.
which is
Yes.
nice because I need something. Like a couple years ago, I had a pinched nerve and I was just out and I could
Oh,
still, it was so bad. The pain was just,
oh my
but
gosh.
I could
I'm
still do
sorry.
this. Like I didn't have to
Yeah.
show up. I could just be in pain and
Well, yeah, exactly. And I think as writers, we often, even if we're not dealing with a pinch nerve, but that sounds really painful. I'm so sorry.
terrible.
But just this being in like the sanctuary of our homes too, and being able to like connect with each other virtually
Yeah.
from our homes, it's really wonderful.
Yeah.
Great.
And then it's fun when you meet him in real life. Then you're like, oh my God, it's like all these different
Yeah,
layers of it's
exactly.
funny how the world works now. But do you have anything you want to share about your experience or like were you surprised by what you wrote about? Did you imagine this is what you would write about? Like what was it like for you?
So it brought up, I feel like as writers, we kind of return to the same kind of core stories,
Mm,
origin stories, kind of again and again and again. So these are topics that I've been writing about in different forms and ways, whether nonfiction or fiction, for years now. And so I guess I wasn't surprised that I still am engaging with the same material.
hmm
But I think that the ending I landed on in this poem surprised me, and that the realization that I don't need those photos as much as I just need to be in nature and like connected to these core memories from childhood.
hmm
I grew up for when my parents were still married when I was a kid. We lived with my grandmother on a beautiful lake in Connecticut, hence the,
hmm
the saying that it was the state everyone drives through to get
That
to
was
the
my
west.
guess of what the state
Yeah.
was. Like, okay,
Yeah.
Connecticut. Hmm
Yeah. So, that house is not in my family anymore because my
hmm
grandmother died in 2019, and it's really painful. Sometimes I drive by that house and still look at it and imagine what the life is like for the new owners, but also just, I have that line about haunted by the halls of, what did I say? I can't even remember my own sentence. Haunting the halls of youth. And I feel like is a thing in my family. And it's something I kind of wrote about in my essay for the father anthology, is that a lot of my family members, including my father, like really hold on fiercely to the past. And to mostly to like childhood and younger memories, or a young, childhood and like being a young adult.
hmm
Um, and that's something that I have inherited as well. But I think all of us are fascinated with our childhoods because that's so much of of what we become kind of pivots around those experiences.
I
So
agree.
yeah, so I think that the ending surprised me in that I always thought I really that objects are very important to me,
Mhm, mhm,
but I and then particularly like photos for memorializing things, but
mhm.
as a writer, we're really carrying those memories of those memories around in a better way than a photo can be in our
Well,
minds.
it's certainly a fuller portrait, right? A picture is just a sec. I mean, I also love pictures, Michelle, so I
Yeah.
understand. I think partially for me, it helps me like, oh yes, this was what it was, and this is who was there, and it just because, like you say, who you were as a child. I mean, it's foundational for who we are
Yes.
now, um, and so it's like sometimes that I feel like I can reach back to her through photos, but I think
Yeah.
that I mean, I felt like I was in the cattails with you. I really was like transported when you were reading that part of, I just felt like, oh, I'm there. And
Yes.
and that's what words can do. They aren't, I mean, you are in a relationship with words where a photo is much more like, oh, look, here it is, and here I am, and here we are, and
Right.
um it's a much
Exactly.
fuller thing to have the picture, the words. So
The picture can give us the start of a memory, but really we enter through it through the word through words as a writer. So.
And I mean, I think about like my children and how many photos there will be for them to look
Yeah.
back on. Where for me, it's, I mean, almost a handful. I mean,
Yeah.
and so they've become almost burned into my memory because of the scarcity of them. Um, and it's
Yes.
interesting to me, just the photos that exist that won't exist, where no one really looks that thrilled. Like everyone's just like, ugh, that's the one picture. Like that just
Yes.
that doesn't that's not going to happen in the same way. If you take a picture like that, you take another one. You
Right.
know.
Right. You can exactly. Whereas the photos that we have from our childhood, it's like you're wasting film if you have if you
Right.
keep
We already took
taking.
one. We took one of this.
Yeah,
It was
I know.
it was so funny. Like just
It is
that
funny.
change is so I think I wonder what pictures will be like for them because it'll be
No.
so different. I need to look through 16,000 pictures. Is that the
Yeah.
same as the one photo album? Um,
It's
do they go
wild to think
through
about.
16,000 pictures or 100,000 pictures?
I know. I know. It's really wild to think about that everything is in the cloud now,
Yeah,
instead of printed out on paper.
yeah. And even when, yeah, anyway, that's a tangent. But I also wanted to say that the food as well. I was like, oh, I want that sandwich. I really want that
Oh,
sandwich.
my
The
grandmother
soup.
used to make that all the time, the grilled cheese with
Yeah.
tomato and bacon. It was so delicious.
Oh,
I
was
really
there
am
soup?
craving
I'm
one.
just making up there was soup
No,
because
there
there would
was
be
soup too.
soup.
The Giggle Noodle soup, which was
Okay.
like in the Lipton brand,
Okay.
like with the stars and the moons and the hearts. I
Yes.
think it would come in the
Mhm,
packets, and
mhm.
yeah, yeah. My grandmother also made amazing like homemade soup all the time, but I felt like Giggle Noodle was kind of like special.
Fun. That is
Yeah,
fun. Yeah,
yeah,
and you feel the love in the food the way you talked about it, and that was a way of showing love, and I
yes.
I show love that way sometimes, and it's just I was really transported by your poem, so thank you.
Thank you. I loved your poem too, by the way.
Thank you. I was like, I mean, what you were saying was is resonates with me, but I think I was also surprised with how it just came, like because when you write an essay, you're just trying to, it's a different process than writing the poem, and it's like, oh, here it all is.
Yes, absolutely.
I wish.
I oh,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
what were you
No,
saying?
I didn't have anything. I wish, and then I didn't know what was next, so please go ahead.
Just curious, and I know we've kind of reached the end of our time, but just really quickly, I'm curious because you've had so many writers do this.
Yes.
Has anyone like really veered off of the prompt at all and like
Yeah.
totally gone in a different direction?
Yes.
Really? That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people will ask me, "Oh, is it okay?" I'm like, "Yes, I don't." It's just interesting too, being the gatekeeper who's not interested in gatekeeping, because
Uh-huh.
it's like, please do whatever you want, write whatever
Yeah.
you want. And some people are very like serious about just filling in the blanks. Like they're just
Hmm.
doing, and which is also great. But yeah, I've had people who have really just, um, I think actually Gina was one. Gina Frangello. She wrote me and was
Love
just like,
Gina.
so I'm not going to do that. Basically, like I can't, I'm an essayist, basically.
Hmm.
And so it's going to be more like that. If that, and it's like, of course, that's okay. I don't want you to try to be something you're not. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Now I need to go read Gina's. I'm curious what
yeah,
she wrote.
yeah. And everyone's bringing themselves into it, which is the
Yeah,
goal. You want them to
exactly.
bring themselves into it. So, I mean, and it's funny because to me, you still feel the seeds of the thing. So it
Yes.
doesn't feel that off
Right.
to me. It's like, oh yeah, this is the same. We're all singing the same song, but just with
We
different
are, but
words.
just in different ways.
Yeah.
And the reason I asked you is just because I found that with both anthologies I edited, giving writers the same prompt, either to write about what they don't talk about with their mom or their dad, you get very, very different pieces, but you also
Mhm.
get some that speak to each other in weird ways, because it's like, how could they have known that their essay might have something in it that connects to another essay? They're not working with the other writers in the book like I am, but it's
Mhm.
fascinating how. So, what will happen when you give a bunch of writers a single prompt, right?
I think, and I edited an anthology, co-edited with my friend Lynn Shattuck about sibling loss, and I mean
Hmm.
that's a real huge thing, right? Prompt. Just write about
Yes.
sibling loss and your experience of it, and people would ask, "Oh, what should I do specifically? Like, what do you have something you're missing?" And we just kind of continue to feel compelled to just say, "Well, what do you want to say? Like,
Yeah.
what is the piece that you have to say?" And nobody says the same thing, and I think that is also incredibly validating as a writer to see, okay, we have 30 people here, they're all writing about the same thing.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
not.
No.
Nobody's writing the same thing.
No.
But I think
Exactly.
sometimes as a writer you feel like, oh, someone's already said this.
Right. Right. Like the same story has been told, but what do
Mhm.
I have to say about it?
Yeah.
But, as they say, nothing is new. There are so many, only so many stories, but it's about your
Right.
voice. It's about your voice, right? And
It
we
is,
all
which is
have our
what
own voice.
I tell myself and my children with all of this AI nonsense, because it, sure, it can steal stories, but
Yeah,
it can't steal lives and voice. And I mean, and that's the thing we work so hard to find.
I-
And
definitely.
you can't, even a machine, I don't believe, can cheat it. I don't
Yep,
think you can.
I
So,
agree.
and I
Yes,
just my, weekly, I hate it. Um, hate it against it.
yes, yes, me too.
You know, and I see how it's affecting, younger people, and how that's the plan.
Don't get me started. We could go down a whole tangent on
I'm
that.
sure. I'm sure. Um, but I feel like there is hope. I always have to feel like there is hope, and I do actually feel like there's hope
Yes,
on this specific topic. So I just, this has been so much fun, Michelle. I really enjoyed this, and I'm so glad that you said yes to my invitation, because you never know. That's the thing about issuing invitations. You do have to be like, well, they might say no, but thank
no,
you for
this
saying
has
yes.
been great. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Okay. Have a lovely rest of your day. Bye.
You too. Bye bye.